can take my body, you can take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul. You can take my body, you can take my...
We're in this beautiful secret garden in the middle of the city on the west coast of Canada. And I chose this place because of the natural beauty and the magic that we can feel in nature. I named the Secret Garden Society that because of my favorite book when I was a child. Maybe it was one of your favorite books as well, The Secret Garden, which is really all about healing and friendship and finding yourself. I created the Secret Garden Society to support women in their well-being and also to unlock their voices, to take a stand for what they believe in and to be the creatrix of their own life. My definition of magic is connecting to the divine, to the goddess, a magical power that is greater than yourself. And when we co-create and connect with the divine, it changes us. Magic changes us. My experience to the divine is one of channeling, dropping deeply into my own self and soul, often through dance, through movement, and to welcome these frequencies from the goddess and the many faces of the goddess. One of my favorite things to do is to be in movement, to find flow and to stay in balance and to constantly rebalance the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional. And my favorite practice is Pilates and dance. Having a partner, my king, is extremely important to me. He grounds me, he creates stability and frequency in my life that allows me to experience the ups and downs of being an entrepreneur and a spiritual leader and priestess. My creativity can really flourish knowing I have this grounding in my life. The most magical moment that I've experienced in my entire life is being on stage. And there's been a few times, about one time in particular, I was dancing this particular solo dance and I had this red short velvet dress on and there was a lot of spinning and turning and running and falling and lifting my leg high. And there was one point during the dance where I felt completely in flow. There was no time. It was though everything existed and nothing existed at the same time. And when I got off stage, I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember the movements I did, but I did have this incredible, blissful experience of presence and oneness. As a child, I was fortunate to live in a natural environment. There were creeks, there were lakes, there were trees, there was a forest in the backyard and a cow pasture with a big cherry tree up into the cow pasture. And I used to love going on my own and imagining there was fairies and doing make-believe and letting my imagination really blossom as I would have these experiences in nature. And I don't think I realized it at the time, but that was an experience that brought me into the benevolent, meaning there was this infinite connection and love and support that was coming in through nature. And I was also lucky that my parents actually really honored Mother Nature, and they didn't talk about God or spirituality, but they did talk about Mother Nature and having a deep reverence and respect to this ultimate mother. I started off my journey as a dance professor, and I never thought that I would end up here as a priestess before you now. And what happened was I started to get attuned to certain energies through Reiki healing and this type of energy healing, the system that supported with limiting beliefs. And as I started to pull out the weeds of my garden, these limiting beliefs and negativity, what I noticed all of a sudden was these memories starting to come back, a kind of remembrance of different past lives even. And this awareness that where I thought I was just overly creative and imaginative, that I actually had clairvoyant abilities. And through that process, I had this name drop in, the Secret Garden Society. It literally just came in like a download, and I thought, okay, universe, what do you want me to do with this? What is the Secret Garden Society? And I actually had no idea what this was going to be. And I started to just contemplate, how can I be in bigger service? How can I make a greater difference in shifting from the dance milieu to something more magical, more energetic, more holistic, that would still bring in the dance, but also support women, especially with their well-being. And different than going to a Western doctor, which of course has its place, but being able to access their own self-healing powers. My definition of magic is tapping into your own energetic system and having mastery of your own energy, being sovereign in your energy body, and then being deeply connected to the divine, the God of your understanding, the goddess, spirit, universe, whatever words you like to use, having this really profound connection. Magic to me is this: the beauty of nature and the spirit of the land, the energy of Mother Earth and Gaia, the sky above, and our connection between the two, between above and below. And to me, it's all about clearing the channel, the vessel of myself, letting go of ego and my small self and what I like to call the witch wounded self. You know, women who have had an experience of being a witch or a priestess or a medicine woman in a past life and then been persecuted for their magic. We have these echoes of remembrance through us, and our abilities have been forced to be dormant. But I do believe that we live in a time now where these are coming back online. Our spiritual gifts are coming back online, and we can embrace this and find safety and security when we come into different sisterhoods and circles like the Secret Garden Society, to be with like-minded women. I love being in circle with my sisters. It's really like a horizontal learning where it's not about the teacher being at the front of the class and everyone's being very studious listening to the teacher. It's much more about a collective frequency and vibration of bringing forth our downloads together and then being able to make the world a better place for the next generations. And really, we're all divine channels. We are oracles. We are the divination tool. Maybe you love pendulum or oracle cards or tarot cards as your divination tools. But really, we can actually be the divination tool ourselves. And our bodies play such an important part in this. We're not just a spirit floating around. We have these incredible, powerful bodies, and you chose to come into this lifetime and into this body. So that's why, to me, dance is so important, that we can work our magic through embodiment and honor our bodies in the process. But that being said, do you want to do a card? I know you do. Okay, let's go ahead and let's just take a nice deep breath together. I'm gonna bring the cards to my heart space. And first, just asking permission from the spirit of the land. Do we have permission here to tap into the energies and to do this work here, this magical work together? And I'm definitely getting a yes. I feel the vibrancy of this space and the spirit of the land. Beautiful. And just getting nice and grounded. It's so easy to get grounded in nature, but even if we're not in a natural setting like this, we can still access a grounding ability to welcome it up from the earth into your own body. And then let's go ahead and shuffle again. And let's just ask the universe and the goddess what wants to be known in this moment. And I'm just going to cut the deck and pick one card. Aha, this is perfect, everybody. So Bridget, creative spark. She is a Celtic goddess. It looks like she fits right into this environment with this wreath of flowers and the smile. And the card says creative spark. And Bridget really starts to come in with St. Bridget's Day, February 1st. So here in the Northern Hemisphere, of course, we have winter. And there's a dormancy that happens at winter within ourselves, spiraling inwards, which is so beneficial for our psyche and our soul. This kind of contemplative time when the days are shorter, the nights are longer, and we can do this shadow work of finding the gold within the dark, the gold within the psyche. What are the sacred learnings? What's within the unconscious that wants to be known? Now with February 1st, the energy of Bridget starts to come forth, and we're invited to start to rekindle within ourselves, a spark of creativity, a spark of vitality. Now, as we're coming up to Beltane, this powerful day, May 1st, on the wheel of the year, we're exactly in the peak of spring, exactly halfway between the equinox and the solstice. And so Bridget's here today. She's reminding us that we too are blossoming. And so my question to you, my friend, is what is blossoming within you right now? If you take a moment, take a nice deep breath. What are you celebrating that is blossoming within you right now? So often we're tough on ourselves. We have perfectionism tendencies. We don't always stop to celebrate. And this is a moment to really feel that gratitude for what you've created in your life. There's always something to be grateful for. The clean water to drink, a roof over your head, the friends in your life, the connections that you have, and the love that you have in your own heart. I love that. So one of my magical processes is actually using a bridge. And you can do this anywhere, whether it's in a park or you're out on an adventure and traveling and you come across a bridge. I highly recommend this to get a question answered from the divine. So whatever crossroads you're at, I know you have a certain question or a problem to be solved. So let's try it together. So you can do it with me. So we're gonna take a nice deep breath. And we have this bridge as a betwixt and between space. The betwixt and the between is a kind of a pause between 2 points. And so we're going to start at one end of the bridge. And by the time we arrive at the end of the bridge, you will receive the answer to your question. So first you need to know your question. Bring your hands to your heart. What is the question that you want answered today? And let's invite that the goddess, the divine, supports us in this experience, in this moment. And here we go. We're going to walk very mindfully. And I want you to just notice what you notice. It could be visual. You could even have your eyes closed in this moment. It could be a sound, a feeling. And coming to the end. Amazing. I want to know what you noticed. What did you notice? Maybe you want to jot it down or journal. And I'm going to share what I noticed. As I came to the end of the bridge, I actually noticed this beautiful tree here and a feeling of a falling away, the sort of older parts of the tree. But then we have these new buds and leaves forming with springtime. There's parts of us that are ready to really literally fall away like a snake shedding her skin. And there's new parts that have been forming within us that are starting to show themselves. Maybe they've been dormant, and here they are, and they're bright and they're vibrant. So this is an invitation to embrace the newness, where you might be fearful of a new identity. Does this mean I'm going to lose people in my life? Some of my friends might fall away, or family and relationships might shift. But really, this is your chance to evolve and grow. So the invitation here is to really embrace even your betwixt in between, who you were to who you're becoming. For me, my personal experience was being a dancer and choreographer, and I knew I was meant for more. I knew the universe was inviting me to evolve, and it felt like a brick wall was in front of me. I honestly didn't know where I was going to go. I went back to school again, thinking maybe I can do my master's degree and that will lead me in some direction. But really, if I'm honest with myself, it felt like a wall in front of me. Now, the one thing that helped this wall crumble, I'll actually never forget the moment. I was sitting in a Chinese restaurant in Tucson, Arizona, with two of my energy healing and magical teachers. And they said to me, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do with this awakening that you're having and this realization you have these spiritual gifts? And I just said, I actually have no idea. And I'm actually feeling very fearful in this moment. But they really validated me to say, you don't have to know what the end result is going to be. That's the magical part. That's the mystery. And just keep going one foot in front of the other, and it will be revealed to you. These kinds of spiritual breadcrumbs will show themselves, and all you need to do is have the courage to take action, to notice the nudges and inklings when they arrive, and to really go for it. And we have a saying in the Secret Garden Society now, which is, screw it, just do it. Screw it, just do it. Screw it, just do it. And that's what I had to do. I had to, in a way, rip the Band-Aid off and just take that leap of faith. And it was very scary for me, but honestly, I've come to realize that the greatest risks, that felt like a risk to change my identity, for people to see me in a new way, the greatest risks bring the greatest rewards. And if I could go back and do it again, I 100% would. I can't believe how incredible my life is today just because of that one decision to say, I'm going to screw it, just do it. The Secret Garden Society is for women who have spiritual gifts. They love Reiki, they love crystals, they love meditation. They probably have had a spiritual awakening of sorts. One of my first spiritual awakenings came from a very difficult situation, a kind of initiation in my life where I was in a relationship, a long-term relationship with a man who turned out to be a narcissist. He had been lying, there was betrayal. I had really isolated myself through that experience and started to dim my own light. Luckily, because of good friends and asking for help, I got out of that situation. And what happened was I promised to myself I would never not listen to my intuition. And I would do everything in my power to develop my intuition, because if I am honest again with myself, there were some red flags. But I had the wool pulled over my eyes. I wanted to fix him. I thought I was a failure if this relationship didn't work out. And I was so grateful to get out on the other side. It was actually a magical ritual that was the final straw. My friend, who lives in this beautiful earth ship home, said, let's do a magical spell. It seems like you're having a hard time leaving this guy. And I thought, I didn't know anything about spells or Wicca or women's spirituality at the time. And I thought, okay, I'm willing to try that. Sounds interesting. And so she asked me to get some of his hair from his comb and some rose petals and all these different items to write some things on a piece of paper, things I was promising to myself. And then we went down into her basement, and she had a cauldron and candles laid out in a pentacle shape. And she said, we're going to sit down and do a meditation. And I thought, okay. And, you know, we have these negative connotations in our society about witches and that there's an evil undercurrent with these things, when actually we know here that the opposite is true. It's about connecting to infinite love and our own inner power and light. And so we sat down and we did this meditation. She had 2 dogs, and they started to circle around and bark, and there was a wind flowing outside, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this, the goosebumps on the arms. And we put the things into the cauldron, the items, and lit a match, dropped it in, and it would not burn. It just would not burn. It didn't even make sense. We kept putting more matches in and nothing. And to me, it was a complete sign symbol of my resistance and why I could not leave this relationship. There was something within me that was attaching to that relationship. I just was having such a hard time to get away from. Finally, we got it burning, and I started to feel different. I started to feel lighter. I started to ground back into myself. Now, we went and emptied all the ashes out by a beautiful juniper tree outside her home. And to this day, anytime I go by that juniper tree, I get the heebie-jeebies. I feel this kind of echo of a kind of a darkness that was part of my life at that time. And I honestly did not see him again. After that moment, I was completely out. There was a huge opening and spaciousness in my life for all the goodness to start coming in. And this is what I want for you and what I want for all women, is where we feel that we have these responsibilities, or we feel we find ourselves in situations where our light is being dimmed, that we can reflect on that and make a change, even if it feels radical or it feels like we might hurt someone's feelings. We're used to putting other people first. We've been taught to be people pleasers. And now is the time to put yourself first and to create the life of your dreams, in which you have people around you that really fan your flames. They see you. They see you for who you really are, and they encourage you to shoot for the stars and be happy, healthy, and free. The path of the modern day priestess is first to know thyself. Just like on the Oracle of Delphi in Athens in Greece, it says, know thyself. And so our role first is to be on the journey of awakening and to start to really have this reverence to who we really are, why our soul chose to come into this lifetime, this body, this experience. I believe we chose the parents that we had, and diving into the mystery of life itself. And on that journey, we start to realize that through the shadows, that there is light, that there is hope, that there is inspiration. And on the path of the priestess, you really realize that you want that for others. You do want to shout that from the rooftops. You want others to know that the self-healing power, this co-creative magic that you can have with the divine, and to be in collaboration with others to engage in life, actually is right there available to you. And it's my belief that the modern day priestess, who's having remembrances of both ancient times when the women and the matriarchs were really at the helm of societies, but also from the future, bringing from the future these codes of empowerment, of consciousness and ascension, bringing from both ends to come in and weave and to support others and our world around us in becoming. Now, also what we're doing is breaking down the walls and structure of the patriarchy, meaning this masculine world that really doesn't serve us in the current times. And as we're starting to allow that to come down, we are also recreating a new kind of structure, a new kind of paradigm that supports the well-being for all. That is the role of the modern day priestess. The spiritual journey isn't a straight line. It's a winding path, like a sailboat that is going through the archipelago and going around islands. Sometimes we feel like we're going forward, and sometimes we really feel like we're going backwards again. The process of transformation and evolution is one of, at times, stretching beyond our comfort zone, and then other times coming back in, as though we're coming back into our cocoon again. And for me, what has supported me in really staying the course to activating my potential and finding out what I'm really made of, finding out what I can really create, and to truly feel I'm in the driver's seat of my own life, is having community, number one. Having sisters that support me and lift me up. They have hearts of gold. They have like minds, a powerful sisterhood. And then you'll know you're on the priestess path if you're waking up to your spiritual gifts. You're having remembrances. And my question to you is, when do you remember that you first were magical? What's your first experience of being magical or noticing magic? If you can answer that, if you know there's magic in the world and you know it's within you, chances are good that you're on the priestess path. And the problem is that we get sucked back into the muggle world with our partner, with our family. And the experience of coming into a program like our priestess school is this opportunity week after week to stay in the flow, to stay deeply connected to yourself, to the divine, and have sisters to laugh and dance and sing and practice with. And it really supports you in your own homecoming, coming back to yourself, understanding who you are, discovering yourself in the next phase of life, and then being in service to the earth, to all of humanity, and to close the doors to any ancestral trauma that you may have experienced, not just for yourself, but for all generations to come. 7 generations into the future, you are the one. And so Priestess School is about closing those doors, opening new ones, not just for yourself, but your entire family and bloodline, for your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and beyond.